this evening. First, a landmark ruling by Chief Justice Roxanne George declares a 30% excise tax on vehicles imported by returning Guyanese illegal. We'll break down what this means for taxpayers and those affected. Next, a tragic incident at Quartzstone Landing leaves a Venezuelan sex worker dead. A suspect is in custody after allegedly strangling her during a dispute. We'll have the latest details. Then a Kitty man is remanded to prison after a massive arm and ammunition bust. Find out what police uncovered and the charges he's facing. Also, a major drug bust on the Demerara Harbor Bridge leads to the arrest of 2 men with over 15 kilograms of marijuana. We'll tell you how the police made the catch. And finally, chaos in Caracas as protests against President Nicolas Maduro's disputed re-election turned violent. Tear gas fills the street as the opposition claims it can prove Maduro lost the vote. Stay tuned for these stories and more coming up next on tonight's broadcast. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for July 30th, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, on Monday, Chief Justice Roxanne George ruled that the Ghana Revenue Authority unlawfully imposed a 30% excise tax on vehicles imported by returning Guyanese. The decision came after Aditya Basdio challenged the increased tax. He had been charged nearly $4.6 million in excise taxes for his imported 2023 Toyota Land Cruiser instead of the expected $1.5 million at the original 10% rate. Since July 2023, GRA had raised the excise taxes on vehicles with engines over 3,000 cc's. Basdio's attorney contested this increase but received no response, leading to a lawsuit in May of 2024. GRA Deputy Commissioner Gavin Lowe defended the increase, citing new regulations. However, GRA's counsel admitted these regulations were not properly enacted, making the 30% tax illegal. The court ordered GRA to revert to the 10% tax rate, release Basdio's vehicle, and cover storage and legal costs. Evidence shows that GRA inconsistently applied the 30% rate, prompting the court to mandate informing all affected taxpayers and issuing refunds. Basdio's lawyer encouraged migrants overcharged by GRA to seek refunds, highlighting that the Excise Act caps the tax at 10%. On a different note, Ian Fagundes was remanded to prison after being charged with possessing firearms and ammunition without a license following a police raid at his Kitty home. Dale Jarvis has more details.
46-year-old Ian Fagundes, who was found in possession of a large cache of firearm and ammunition at his Sandybab Street Kitty home, was remanded to prison when he appeared at the Georgetown Magistrate Court on Monday, July 29, 2024. Fagundes appeared before Magistrate Clive Nurse, charged with the offences of possession of firearm without license and possession of ammunition without license. He pleaded not guilty to all the charges. Nevertheless, he was refused bail. The matter was adjourned to August 27, 2024 for disclosure. Reports are that on the morning of Wednesday, July 24, 2024, the police conducted an intelligence-led operation at Fagundes' residence at Sandybab Street Kitty and seized a total of 26 handguns and high-powered rifles, along with thousands of rounds of various ammunition types, and arrested Fagundes and other family members. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. 2 men are in police custody after they were found with over 15,000 grams of suspected marijuana on the west end of the Demerara Harbor Bridge on Sunday, July 28. Police, acting on a tip-off, stopped the Toyota Axio HD 3315 around 5:30 p.m., driven by 34-year-old Sion Haywood of Crane Housing Scheme and an occupant 24-year-old Selwyn Lovell from Baggotsville, West Bank, Demerara. A search of the vehicle unearthed 4 black garbage bags with leaf seizure stems suspected to be marijuana in the trunk. Both Haywood and Lovell were told of the offense committed, cautioned, arrested, and escorted to the LaGrange police station, where the narcotics was weighed in their presence and amounted to 15,050 grams. Both men were placed into custody as investigations continue. Stick around when we return. Female sex worker allegedly strangled to death. Suspect is in custody. And ministry launches 10 weeks training program for international human rights law.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. How smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. A 25-year-old suspect was arrested for allegedly strangling a Venezuelan sex worker in Region 7. More from Dale Travis.
A 25-year-old suspect has been arrested for allegedly strangling 26-year-old Mayra Carmen Rodriguez Serrano, a female sex worker from Venezuela, to death at Quartzstone Landing in Region 7 during the early hours on Monday, July 29, 2024. Investigations revealed that the suspect and Serrano were imbibing at a shop around 2 a.m. before going to her room, where the suspect arranged to pay for her services. After returning to the shop to drink more, they returned to her room around 3 a.m. The shop owner heard noises, but thought nothing of it at the time. Upon checking sometime later, he found Serrano unconscious and reported the incident to the police. She died while being transported to Quartzstone Waterfront. The suspect was arrested and admitted to choking Serrano after she demanded additional payment for her services and bit him when he tried to force her. The suspect remains in custody as the investigation continues. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jervis.
Thanks, Dale. The Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance has launched a program to train 195 people in international human rights law. The program, launched at Pegasus in Georgetown, will last 10 weeks and include training from top officials like Chief Justice Roxanne George Wiltshire. Minister Gail Teixeira described the program as homegrown and created to address the need for better human rights knowledge in Guyana. The training will cover Guyana's human rights framework, the International Bill of Rights, key legislation protecting human rights in Guyana, and contemporary human rights issues. The goal is to increase awareness and understanding of human rights locally and internationally. The course aims to increase societal awareness and understanding of human rights in Guyana. Don't go away after the break. President Joe Biden unveils proposal to reform the Supreme Court, and at least 63 killed, dozens trapped after landslide hit India's Kerala.
Smart Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Cab Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves expressed hope that CARICOM leaders would congratulate Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on his re-election. Gonsalves, a strong supporter of Maduro, has already extended his own congratulations and believes most CARICOM countries, particularly those in Bolivarian Alliance for the Peoples of Our America, will follow suit. Despite allegations of electoral fraud from the opposition and skepticism from Western countries, Gonsalves asserted that the elections were fair, citing reports from his ambassador in Caracas and the Carter Center's positive assessment of Venezuela's electoral system. It should be noted that the Carter Center, in a press release on its website, calls upon Venezuela's National Election Commission to immediately publish the presidential election results at the polling station level, citing the information contained in the polling station level results are critical and important for all Venezuelans. Meanwhile, protests in Venezuela are turning increasingly violent following the disputed re-election of President Nicolas Maduro. The opposition says it can prove that Maduro lost the vote. Members of the National Guard have been firing tear gas to try to disperse crowds demonstrating in Caracas. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
President Nicolas Maduro did not wait long to be proclaimed president for another 6 years. On Monday, the electoral authorities handed Maduro the credentials for his re-election, even as the opposition cried foul.
I say to the plotters, to those involved, and to those who endorse this operation against Venezuelan democracy, that we already know the movie, and this time there will be no weakness.
A few hours later, thousands took to the streets protesting the results, and years of economic and political crisis that have forced millions out of the country. The government says those who do not recognize the results could face up to 6 years in prison, but many did not seem to care.
All these people are upset. We do not agree with the votes, with the results, because they are not real. This is fraud. For me, it is fraud. I was there. We checked everything. All the people talked. We talked and there was no Maduro supporters. There were 4 Edmundo.
Despite confirming Maduro's victory on Sunday evening, the Electoral Council has failed to upload the voting data to the official website. For the opposition, this is proof that massive fraud was committed. During a press conference by opposition leader Maria Corina Machado and presidential candidate Edmundo González Urrutia, they say they have access to 73% of the tally sheets, that these prove González Urrutia is the winner by a wide margin.
Today we have great news to share with all Venezuelans. It's a miracle, But today I want to tell all Venezuelans, both inside and outside the country, all believers in democracy around the world, that we now have the means to prove the truth of what happened yesterday in Venezuela.
The government says their electoral system was hacked and blame members of the opposition.
The results of Venezuela's elections has generated lots of concern across the region, as many governments are requesting the government to present the official tally sheets of these elections, and they want them to be independently verified by different organizations. The response by the government of Nicolás Maduro has been to expel the diplomatic personnel from 7 countries in Latin America, accusing them of interfering in Venezuelan affairs.
For the government, the current crisis is sponsored by the United States to overthrow the administration. But the thousands who took to the streets say they're desperate for things to change. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
U.S. President Joe Biden has called for major changes to the country's Supreme Court, including term limits for judges. He laid out his plan during a speech in Texas on Monday. Biden also criticized some of the conservative-led court's decisions, which he described as extreme. Al Jazeera's Rob Reynolds reports.
President Joe Biden proposed sweeping reforms of the Supreme Court, saying ethical lapses and extreme decisions by the right-wing majority have eroded the country's faith in the institution.
Extremism is undermining the public confidence in the court's decisions.
He took aim at recent court rulings eliminating abortion rights and, in a case brought by former President Donald Trump, finding presidents largely immune from prosecution for crimes committed during their time in office.
This nation was founded on the principle there are no kings in America.
Biden wants a constitutional amendment to nullify the court's ruling. He also called for term limits on justices. Conservative Clarence Thomas has been on the High Court for more than 32 years.
I believe the best structure is the 18-year term limit. That would help ensure the country would not have what it has now.
In recent years, Justice Thomas was found to have accepted, without reporting them, hundreds of thousands of dollars in gifts and luxury travel from a billionaire Republican campaign donor. Following the January 6, 2021 attempt to overturn the election, a flag on Justice Samuel Alito's property flew upside down, a distress signal many interpreted as showing sympathy for the mob. Biden wants an enforceable ethical code and for justices to recuse themselves in cases where they may have personal interest.
The court is not dealing with the obvious conflicts of interest. We need a mandatory code of ethics for the Supreme Court, and we need it now.
Legal experts say there's little chance of Biden pushing through the reforms, which would face adamant Republican opposition in a closely divided Congress.
For him to get anything done of that nature that would require a constitutional amendment, it will not happen during the remaining part of his term.
But Biden's real aim may be political, unholstering another potent weapon for presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Kamala Harris to use in her campaign. Biden's Supreme Court proposals tap into a powerful vein of public discontent with the nation's highest court. New polls show as many as 60% of Americans disapprove of the court, its behavior, and its job performance. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Austin, Texas.
Internationally, Landslides, triggered by relentless monsoon rains, have struck tea plantations in India's southern Kerala state and killed at least 63 people, with at least 250 others rescued from mud and debris, officials said. Al Jazeera's Kulthum Sharif reports.
A once picturesque region, now in ruins. Multiple landslides caused by heavy monsoon rains have swept away villages in Wayanad district. It happened in the early hours on Tuesday, trapping people in their homes while they slept. Search and rescue teams have been trying to reach the hundreds believed to be trapped under the mud and debris.
We fear that the gravity of this tragedy is much more than these numbers. Rescue operations are being carried out on a war footing. Police, NDRF, Fire Force and various agencies are actively involved in rescue operations.
The army has deployed more than 200 soldiers to help teams from the State Emergency Service. But the unstable terrain, destroyed roads and a collapsed bridge are hindering efforts. Several injured people have been taken to hospital.
There were about 5 to 8 people with me. They were all swept away. I saw them being swept away. I don't know what's happened to them. I don't know if they're alive or if they've been rescued. I carried my mother on my shoulders.
In a social media post, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has pledged full support from the federal government. Opposition leader and former MP from Wayanad, Rahul Gandhi, has called for an action plan to map landslide-prone areas. Heavy rains, flooding and mudslides are common in Kerala during the monsoon season from June to September. In 2018, nearly 500 people were killed in the state in one of the worst floods on record. Kulthum Sharif, Al Jazeera.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's FTV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.